You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Bark and Wag is excited to announce our new partnership with a Colorado hemp farm to produce a line of CBD products for your pets. Bark and Wag has CBD pet tincture available in 300, 750, 1200, and 2400 milligrams. Bark and Wag CBD is pet safe, no THC, it's made in the USA, and is CO2 extracted. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That is BARK, to see our line of CBD and awesome merchandise. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise, so anytime send an email to Polly at barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Dr. Lucas, veterinarian, as well as a veterinarian consultant, about ear care. Welcome, Dr. Lucas.
Hi, thanks for having me, Polly. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you for being on the podcast. So tell us, ear care, you really don't think about it until all of a sudden you smell some type of stench from your dog. What is Silver Honey Rapid Ear Care?
Well, that's a good question to kick it off. And as the name says, it's a combination of silver and honey. But it's a fairly special combination and unique because it is a combination of a type of honey that is called Manuka honey. And it's a honey that is produced specifically by the Manuka tree in New Zealand. And that honey has been shown to have very good medical properties, antimicrobial properties, and also the silver within the formulation is not just a regular silver, it is a MicroSilver. That is a sort of a micro-encapsulated silver particles. And what that does is release the silver into the tissues or into the ear in a slow manner. Because we know if we put large amounts of silver ions onto the skin or in the ear or on a wound, it's going to kill all the bacteria and microorganisms, but also it's going to be toxic to the skin cells. So by microencapsulating the silver allows for that slow release and avoid those toxic effects. And as you probably heard, these are no new therapies, right? Honey and silver have been called the ageless remedies because have been used for centuries for medicinal purposes. And now, over the past couple of decades, we are having issues with antibiotics, as you probably have heard about antimicrobial or antibiotic resistance. And that is when bacteria, in the case of antibiotics, become resistant to an antibiotic that previously was able to kill those bacteria. And because of that, because of the overuse and overprescription of antibiotics, it has been increased emphasis in discovering alternative therapies like silver honey that have no antibiotics, are more natural, and have bacterial and yeast killing effects, and they are safe for the patients.
Is it a liquid or is it a cream?
Both. We have incorporated the components into a liquid form, and that is the ear rinse, which you can use to just rinse the ears of your dog and flush all the wax and all the debris that accumulates inside the ear canal of dogs and cats less often that develop otitis externa, right? So that liquid formulation will allow for all that debris to be flushed out. And then there is the ear medication that you apply inside the ear canal after it's clean that has more of a gel-like consistency. So it will kind of stick to the ear canal and it will kind of last in there for longer than just a liquid.
And is it a prescription or can you buy it over the counter?
No, in this type of formulation, and at this time, it is an over-the-counter formulation. So it's owners can buy it off the shelf without the need of a prescription, which is advantageous because putting these directly in the hands of owners can help them treat ear infections or uncomplicated ear infections quickly before they get to a point that they are, pretty bad or develop secondary complications.
Yeah, that's great to be able to treat infections naturally and without an antibiotic. How did the company start?
Well, we started developing the first product that was developed was a silver honey to be applied on wounds and skin infections in dogs, cats, and horses, or any animal that would develop any kind of problems on the skin. And if you think about the skin extends into the ear canal, so the ear canal is an extension of the skin. So a lot of the same problems that occur in the skin could extend into the ear canal. So it was kind of a natural development to try to develop something that will help owners to treat the ear infections. And more so, I think the company is very active in educating owners and veterinarians about the problem of antibiotic resistance and developing products that will help treat infections that are either resistant to antibiotics or infections that do not require antibiotics, and therefore trying to do its part in the antibiotic stewardship movement.
So how do pet owners know if their dog has an ear infection?
Well,
versus like if the inside of the ear is just dirty, is that an infection? Or, there's obviously a smell and there's goo, it can get kind of gross kind of fast.
It does. And like you mentioned, there are different degrees, right? And some owners are more familiar than others. But basically, the clinical signs that owners sort of relate the most is the fact that the dog is shaking its head, scratching or itching the ear, like pulling at the ear. The ear becomes red. When they lift it up, it becomes red. It has an odor that is very characteristic. And then it has that discharge, right, that could vary in color. Sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's very black. And, in more severe cases, they can see that there is a lot of swelling in the ear canal, and the ear canal kind of shuts off because there is so much swelling due to the inflammation and the infection inside the ear canal that they cannot see the opening very well. And that goes along with, quite severe pain. So that would be in a sort of severe advanced case of otitis externa. Hopefully, not too many dogs get to that stage, but it's something common that we see in clinical practice.
Sure. So when do you think a pet owner should use this product?
I think something that it is important to sort of clarify is that, products like these not every time will replace a veterinary consultation, right? A lot of times there has to be this partnership between the veterinarian and the pet owner to really understand and design a treatment protocol and talk to them when, products over the counter would be able to be used in their pet and when it is safe to do so, right? But having, over-the-counter products like Silver Honey to treat these mild otitis externa cases, it is a good thing to have in the market, because if you treat some dogs with mild cases as soon as possible, then that could enhance the chances for that dog to heal fairly quickly. And we have seen these with Silver Honey. We have done some studies with different veterinary clinics testing the Silver Honey kit product combination, and we have seen very good results, especially with those that have mild otitis and the ones that are treated soon after the first clinical signs are being identified. So what we say sometimes is that these products should be part of sort of the first aid kit for dog owners or pet owners, and really try to be proactive about trying to use it when the clinical signs are first recognized. And this is also an advantage because we know, I don't know if you experience this with your veterinarian, but it seems like we are very busy at veterinary practices at this time, and a lot of times there is a wait to see your dog for any case, right? So if you wait to have your dog seen for an ear infection, that could make things worse. So if you start using this product while you wait for your appointment with your veterinarian, I think it is a positive thing to do. And it's not going to have any side effects for otitis externa. So it is not going to hurt if you start doing something right away while you wait for your veterinarian.
Yeah, so we have a summer home up in northern Wisconsin, and I have 2 retrievers, and an ear infection comes on so fast. So this is a great product. So can you, if your dog is going to be swimming every day for 10 days, all day, can you use this product as a precaution and each day give the dog a drop just so it does not get a ear infection?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, those retrievers like to swim, especially if they swim in, ponds or lakes, not very clean water. They tend to trap water inside the ear canal. And I don't know if you've ever seen an ear canal in a dog, but it's not like a straight tube. It is kind of an L. So anything that gets in there sometimes is hard to get out, even though they shake their heads and stuff. But if you have dogs that have floppy ears, also are going to be more prone to kind of trap moisture and bacteria and yeast inside that ear canal. So having like the Silver Honey ear rinse formulation that is more of a liquid, it still has Silver Honey in there, allow for that dog after a swim to kind of cleanse their ear and keep it clean is probably going to be a good preventative measure to do. On other dogs not swimming, you don't want to really over clean the ear. You don't want to do these every day, even if they are prone to develop ear infections. Sort of a maintenance regime for a dog that is prone to ear infections would be to keep that ear rinse and clean every week or every couple of weeks, depending on the dog. But, sometimes dog owners do it too much, and that is not good either.
Okay. So where do listeners get Silver Honey Rapid Ear Care products?
Well, there is a website, silverhoney.com, that has all the information. They could buy it directly from the website, or I believe there are listed stores where you can buy it. I mean, I know it's sold online, and then in the pet stores, like big chain pet stores, it is sold there.
Okay, and I'll put the information in the show notes as well, the link. But thank you for being on the podcast, and we look forward to having you back.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for the opportunity, Polly.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.